Hey, it's James here. Before launching my agency, I had zero technical background. However, I didn't let that stop me from signing my first clients within the first 60 days. So today, I'll just be going over the things that enabled me to do so, as well as going over the things that stopped me from signing a client within my first 30 days. So if you find any value throughout any course of this video, all I ask is that you leave a like and subscribe. My main goal with this video today was just to debunk the myth that you have to come from some sort of rich, deep, code intensive background just to break into this new space of AI, and just show that even someone like me who had zero knowledge on coding or AI or LLMs was able to sign clients and get people to trust him to make automations for their business within a short span of time. Just to reiterate, my experience when it came to coding or AI or anything was as low as it honestly could be. I had no idea even what was going on with ChatGPT. I had no idea what an LLM was. I had no idea what an API call was, let alone what JSON or any of these technical terms that obviously I have to know now. But with that, when I was coming into it, it's incredibly intimidating. But I didn't take any sort of tech class in high school. That's very common for people to take in high school, or even people just have some sort of interest online in search of videos. But I had nothing tech related before I got into this AI automation space. Everything about it was foreign, everything about it was new. And this is something that I know that a lot of people out here watching this video specifically can relate to. And that's exactly why I made it, because I was exactly where you were, and possibly a lot of you probably starting even further ahead than I was, because just the general knowledge on AI has just grown so much in the past few months from where I started, and just the knowledge out there that's available to you is honestly a lot better. It is a lot more saturated, I will say, but it is a lot better than when I first started. So there's so many people available that provide so much value and that allow you to go from very low understanding or even zero like I was to being super competent within 2 to 4 weeks. And that's not even any sort of exaggeration. When it comes to the hardest part of learning the automations, which is the thing that a lot of people struggle with, obviously, especially when I'm coming from a zero background with automation or AI or even tech or coding or anything, there's just so much information online. So, like I said, right now, there's so much good information out there on YouTube, on Reddit, in school communities, different things like that. There's so many different methods and mediums in which you get information about how to build your specific type of automation, whether it's voice automation, whether it's CRM automations, whether it's just systems automations, whatever, it doesn't matter. But there's just so many different things to help you broaden your knowledge. So whatever it is that you want to build, whatever it is that you want to sell, I guarantee you that there is at least 100 different videos online about it right now. But that is also a downside. When there's 100 videos, how do you know that the video that you pick is the perfect video? Because just because the video has the most views doesn't mean that they're giving the best information. The honest answer to how do you understand or how do you figure out which information is the perfect information, to be frank, you don't. You can't. It's impossible. Using views or status as a metric isn't always liable. Like I said, there's someone out there that probably has some sort of video with zero views that gives you the exact playbook on how to become a millionaire with AI that no one's going to see, including myself, just because of the way that the algorithm works. But with that, you just have to trust it. Like, you're not going to learn without doing. So instead of getting in tutorial hell and just sitting there and going over video after video after video after video without doing anything for yourself, watch a video, watch a tutorial, watch two or three maybe if you want to just get a broader understanding, and go and make the build alongside the tutorial. Go and do that countless times until you're comfortable with the platform, until you're comfortable with the logic, until you're comfortable with the prompting. That is the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway from especially when I started, that I wish I stopped trying to find the perfect video or the perfect tutorial and just instead got on these platforms and started building. Another similar thing was that there were just so many different platforms and so many different tools. In the voice agent space, especially, there's different tools, there's different LLMs and whatever, that you're always mix and matching. So when you're choosing the perfect voice, then you're choosing the perfect model to run the LLM under, then you're choosing the perfect prompt structure and different things like that. Then you have to pick the perfect backend tool to run the automations through. So there's just so many different things you have to pick that I got caught trying to be the perfect solution builder. I got caught trying to make sure that what I was doing was seamless when in reality I had zero clients. So like no one cares if you can make the perfect automation if you can't sell to anyone or you're not making something that is proven by the market. Again, you will never know what is the perfect tool, the perfect platform. The best you can get is you can know what people are buying or what tools you can use in order to sell automations. And the only way to do that is by selling automations. And then another big thing as well is that there's just no clear learning sequence. There's no one out there teaching you from the get go. Learn this, then this, then this, then this. That's where the Liam Otleys, the Nick Seraph, the Nate Herks, they come in and they have their school communities. Then they have all their videos that provide so much value to you, so that now you have some sort of path and game plan. And that's where their business models come into play. But that's a topic for another day. But that's not to say that what they do is inherently bad or negative, because they honestly provide so much value. I've learned a lot from each and every one of those creators I just named, but using them as a tool in which to get the very beginning steps of structure and sequence are really beneficial, I will say. And then finding other creators, smaller creators that wear glasses and have green flannels on, then they really are helpful as well. The thing that pushed me over the edge specifically, so just to give context on my business and how the dynamic of my business specifically was, is I run the agency Simply Voice AI. We make voice solutions for service-based businesses and honestly any business that relies on inbound phone calls as a main source of lead traffic. So my brother did cold calls at the beginning because he handles the client acquisition, the client management. I handle the developmental side of things. So he cold called 10 different companies on one day, 10 local companies. And he ended up getting one positive reply from the owner of the carpet cleaning company. One of the big things to note as well, that if the owner of the business is answering the phone, then that shows that these voice solutions have so much leverage, just because when you're the owner of the business, your time should be definitely spent elsewhere rather than answering the phone and answering FAQs about what time you're open or what time you close and different things like that. But with this was a very simple build looking back at it, but in the moment, this, like no exaggeration, this quite literally felt like my final exam or final project, and I felt like I had to compensate and make sure that this was perfect. With this, we gave it a 1 week deadline just to make sure that we were pushing at the right pace in order to get this done quickly and to understand what it is exactly we needed to do. It was a simple proof of concept, just answered FAQs, just was ideally it was supposed to have some sort of logic that prompted the user to either have to come in and bring the carpet in or schedule a time for one of the people from the carpet cleaning company to go out and give them a quote of how much it would cost to clean their in-house carpet. With this specific job, it didn't come out to any sort of final deal or retainer or anything like that, just because after we built out the project for this specific person, they kind of just ghosted us, to be completely honest. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't do anything different with this. Maybe change the way that we framed it now, knowing all we know about how it comes to selling these solutions and making it less about AI, more about outcomes driven, different things like that. But other than that, there's nothing else I would change about it. I would go back and I would still spend that 20 hours I spent. Yes, no exaggeration. I spent 20 hours on a simple receptionist, but I would go back. I would spend every single one of those 20 hours again, exactly how I spent it, learning exactly how I learned, because this specific thing served as the foundation of where I am now. Someone who could make that same solution damn near in 5 to 10 minutes. So that put me in a position to understand what was necessary in this industry and what was just nonsense. And the main thing that you'll see a lot of the times from a lot of these people in the space or the leaders in the space is that they'll tell you to do free work, they'll tell you to do discounted work. And I strongly agree with that, just because it's zero leverage. There's no stress on getting a perfect project out, and it just takes a lot of that pressure off your shoulders as a beginner builder. Because what a lot of people do when they're first starting off and they first take that leap to launch their agency and to start learning, they get really self-conscious and they have a very big confidence issue. They start feeling that they're not ready enough to sell, so they keep watching the tutorials, they keep following along with the tutorials. But in reality, the best way to know if you're ready is to just know yourself. There may never be a time that you feel that you're 100% ready. I know for a fact I was not confident at all in my skills when this came up. This specifically, I don't classify this as my first client. So when I'm talking about my first client in 90 days, um, this was not what I was talking about. Just for the record, the way in which I went about acquiring my first client was through Upwork. What Upwork is a freelancing platform that allows you to basically leverage your skills to the best of your ability. Upwork is such a good platform, especially for us beginner builders who just want to get those reps in, who just want to show that we know exactly what we're doing and just add some um, testimonials and proof that we know what we're doing, so that when we're ready to sell for the 5-10K projects, that we're confident in showing that the systems that we produce are not only produced at a high value, but they produce high value results for our customers as well. The real value within Upwork is it just takes away the hardest and most friction induced points in the sales process. So when you're selling a product or a service, especially when at the very first early stages for your first time, the first thing you need to do is first convince the person that they have a problem. So that's done usually, at least when this comes when you're talking about cold outreach, so cold emailing, cold calling. The main thing is you have to take someone who's running their business, may not be a perfect business. You have to let them know that, hey, this thing is a problem. You have to convince them without a doubt that this thing that you're trying to sell them is a problem. Then you have to convince them that, hey, this is the solution to the problem. This this voice AI automation is a solution to you missing after hour calls. And then from there, you have to then not only convince them that you're the right person for that problem, so that you know everything that's necessary with building out the solutions, but then that this problem that you're solving is worth upwards of 5 to 10K at times. So as you can see, as someone who was just struggling with getting confidence of selling these automations, as someone who's been building for a month and a half, um, having to do all those steps is like asking a lot, honestly. So Upwork takes that away by providing a platform where people already know what problem it is that they have. They know the means to a degree on which they want it to be solved, and then all they're looking for is that person to solve it. So it takes away two of the biggest friction points and puts everything so you can focus all your energy into getting that fastest path to the yes. So showing that you know how to build these systems, showing that you understand the client issues, that you understand the ideas that come with selling these automations, and that you're not selling AI. It's the fact that you're selling the solution to a business-oriented problem. And just to expand more on that idea is that a lot of times, especially when you're coming from the developer's mindset, I've had to shift in my role a lot over the past few months as just being a sit-back developer, as to also taking on some of the work or the load when it comes to client outreach and sales. So just learning that going from a completely non-technical space to going to an overly technical space, and then again having to take a step back and explain my solutions and everything I do from a non-technical standpoint was very difficult at first, because the thing that we're selling, especially when you're talking to service-based business owners, so like HVAC, plumbers, and all that, they're not overly technical people. Of course, there'll be the edge cases where they know exactly all these APIs and whatever, but on average, they're not going to be super technical people. So telling him or her that, hey, I run my automations through retail AI, we have the best rates, then we use this LLM and this phone provider, we use Twilio, this and that would not mean anything to them. They would have no idea what I'm saying. Instead, we can let them know we run this system, we run this process that allows which allows you to never miss a lead, so that you don't have to answer the call on job sites. Now, every single intake is done through a script that is approved by you. You know exactly how every single lead is handled. If the AI can't answer any sort of question, it would route it to your receptionist. It would route it to your phone. If this is a high intent lead that wants to buy right now, you can have it so it routes it right to you and to your team. Explaining the solution to the problem that it solves, rather than explaining exactly how it does that from a technical standpoint really transformed the way that I communicated with people on these calls. If you made it this far in the video, then I'm sure you resonate with a lot of what I'm saying, which draws me back to the point of why I made this video in the first place, just to show you that if I can do it, you can too. If you want a more authentic look of what it looks like to build an agency from the ground up, click the first link in the description to subscribe to my completely free newsletter where I break down every single thing I do week by week to scale my agency. That's all I have for you guys today. I'll see you tomorrow.